On this day, Wednesday, June 12th, 2013, at 10:30 a.m., a meeting of the Committee on Administration of the Board of Commissioners of the Chicago Park District is being held on the 8th floor boardroom of the Administration Building located at 541 North Fairbanks. Will the Secretary please take a roll call?
Chair Vice President Armstrong.
Here.
Vice Chair Commissioner Lavelle.
Here.
President Traubert.
Here.
Commissioner Allen.
Here.
Commissioner Koldyke.
Here.
Quorum is present. Let the record reflect that Commissioner Shalaby, Commissioner Salgado, and General Superintendent Michael Kelly are also in attendance.
This meeting will please come to order. Item number 1. From the First Deputy General Counsel, authority to enter into an intergovernmental agreement with the United States Army Corps of Engineers and an agreement with the Metropolitan Water Reclamation District for improvements at Horner Park. Timothy?
Thank you, Commissioners. President Traubert, Superintendent Kelly, we're here to ask for the authority to enter into 2 agreements today. One, an intergovernmental agreement, as Commissioner Armstrong mentioned, with the Army Corps of Engineers through the federal government to transfer our funding in not to exceed $2.2 million to leverage that federal funding in the amount of $4.2 million, totaling a $6.4 million project funding provided by the Great Lakes Restoration Initiative for the enhancement and improvement of the riverbank at Horner Park. Horner Park is located at 2741 West Montrose on the north side in the 33rd Ward. The scope of the project is on your screen now. Designed to be completed this summer. Construction contract awarded in September. Project will include regrading of the riverbank, planting of new vegetation, and allowing access points to the river. This is consistent with the Mayor's plan to restore use and revitalize the Chicago River along all aspects of it. As you've heard Superintendent Kelly, many of you in his presentations, and many of you attended the event at Pink Tom this past weekend, a wonderful event, and it ties in together the river boathouses and the access to the Chicago River. As a person who grew up right at that park and counted Horner Park among my home park, I can tell you that that will greatly enhance the east side of the park and allow that part of the park to flourish. Rob Raymond, our capital construction director, has a little bit more to add.
Okay, again, you see on screen the scope of the project. It starts the northern boundaries at Montrose Avenue and it stretches all the way down to Irving Park Road. It's 2,600 feet of riverbank, 14 acres, and we're creating riparian zone, oak savanna, and vernal pool wetlands along this area. As you can see, this is the existing site, and in the park now, it's hard to tell it's on the river. It's fenced, and there's pretty dense undergrowth trees, a lot of weed trees, and no river access whatsoever along the entire length. What we'd like to do is open it up in certain areas, change the understory, bring some sunlight in, change the experience of the riverbank, provide fishing access, and a greater variety of undergrowth planting. So these are just examples of riverbank access, the kinds of things you'll see when the project is finished. If you have any questions, I can answer them.
What is a riparian zone?
It's that zone where the basically the land meets the water. And it's the type of plants that flourish on that emergent zone.
Rob, can you clarify? So the river and MWRD, and when does the Chicago Park District have the land, and when does MWRD have it, and we're just leasing?
Okay.
Actually, the river boundary is the crest of the Chicago River into the land, and that property is owned by MWRD. This is a 2-part agreement. One is the federal government funding part, and then the other is the lease portion with MWRD. So they're the owners of the land. They will be leasing it to the Chicago Park District.
And in parks along the river, is the situation varied? Does sometimes the Park District owns the land, or it's always MWRD and a lease agreement?
Along the river, it's always MWRD with the lease agreement. We enjoy probably 14 different leases with MWRD right now, encompassing various points along the Chicago River.
And what kind of fish would you catch?
I can answer that. It's a river. You can catch anything in a river. Seriously.
In a river, but specifically in this river, what might you catch?
So I wouldn't be shocked if you call the northern pike, but here I would say catfish would be the number one, with bluegill probably being number two.
Thanks.
Okay. Edible?
In small amounts.
I move to approve the item.
Second?
Will the secretary take a roll call for the adoption of the matter?
Chair Vice President Armstrong,
Aye.
Vice Chair Commissioner Lavelle,
Aye.
President Trobert,
Aye.
Commissioner Allen,
Aye.
Commissioner Koldyke.
Aye.
Motion carried and the matter is adopted.
That concludes Committee on Administration. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those against? Motion carried. The Committee of Administration is now adjourned.
On this day, Wednesday, June 12, 2013, at 10:40 a.m.
Point of order. We're going to switch the order if that's okay.
Are we?
Do you
Why don't you go ahead?
apologize? I thought we. Sorry, I didn't know.
I didn't know. Okay. So,
On this day, Wednesday, June 12, 2013, at 10:40 a.m., meeting of the Committee on Capital Improvements of the Board of Commissioners of the Chicago Park District is being held in the 8th floor boardroom of the Administration Building, located at 541 North Fairbanks. Will the Secretary please take a roll call?
Chair Commissioner Koldyke,
Here.
Vice Chair Commissioner Salgado,
Here.
Commissioner Shalaby,
here.
Commissioner Lavelle,
Here.
President Trobert.
Here.
Quorum is present. Let the record reflect that Vice President Armstrong, Commissioner Allen, and General Superintendent Michael Kelly are also in attendance.
The meeting will please come to order. Item number 1 from the Director of Planning and Construction, authorization to issue final payment for work completed in connection with Stanton Edward Park Fieldhouse exterior renovations. Rob?
Good morning, Commissioners. This is to certify that FH Passion, SN Nielsen, and Associates, LLC, on February 22nd, 2013, completed in a satisfactory manner and in full compliance with the terms and conditions of the contract all work in connection with Stanton Park Fieldhouse exterior renovations. It's therefore recommended that an order be approved for final payment in the amount of $59,891.67. The original contract amount was $1,198,000. There was a small credit back to the job for unused contingency of $166.69 for a total final contract amount of $1,197,833.31. This project is all TIF funded. It's 25% MB participation and 19% WB participation, and I'll quickly walk through the scope. The Stanton Park is at Clybourne near Burling. The building is actually adjoined to a CPS building. You can see it. This is the building here, and the CPS school is right here, and this is the park and school grounds. The exterior, the building has been around for a while, and we had some serious problems. The clerestory windows around the building had been aged and compromised. There's been leaking around those areas. The steel columns are rusting. The steel copings along the roof are rusting, and the lintels across the building were causing serious brick deterioration and delamination. You can see here to the left of the doors, you have bricks above resting on a rusted lintel that have been forced away from the building. Those conditions were also happening along the joint between masonry and steel. You can see what happens to the masonry in these locations, cracking, falling off the building, and the rusting from the lintels going all the way through to the inside of the building, causing problems inside as well. The roof was a mess. It was leaking. This was near a building that had been demolished some time ago, and you can see the debris that had been tossed onto the building over time. And that was causing issues again with roof leaks, missing ceiling tiles, and problems with basically humidity in the building. So afterwards, we were able to clean up, retuck point, replace all bricks, remove all rust, reseal all the structural members, actually replacing many of the lintel locations and masonry pieces, snapping the building into place. just fixing all those components. Brand new roof, much cleaner. We restored a skylight that had been covered up from the past, and again, sealing the building, bringing the interior back into a better lit, much cleaner, much more pleasant environment, and stabilizing the structure for the future. So this building should now be good for another 30, 40 years. It's a nice field house for us, for both park patrons and kids going to school at the neighboring building. If you have any questions, I can answer them.
Rob, this is a final payout?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Okay, and one of the things I think we'd like on final payouts is to talk about change orders and just as a matter of course, every
Sure.
final payout, go over that.
Yeah. So in this case, we don't have change orders. We just had a small credit because we didn't use all the owner allowance for the project. So the costs were relatively well maintained in this project, which was, that's a good one for this one. We didn't know exactly how much of the lintels would need to be replaced once we opened the walls. So we took a good guess at the scope when we started the job.
Rob, is there I drive by this quite a bit, and as I've mentioned to you, it's hard for me to tell driving by there that there's really this facility there. Is there an issue with getting people there with use or not?
The building is kind of hidden back there, and right now CHA is working on a redevelopment plan for the entire area that may be connecting streets to Clybourne, potentially running streets through and getting a better grid connection to the west of the park. But those plans are currently underway. We're coordinating with them to make sure that it makes sense for the park, for accessibility to the park, potentially even doing some land swaps so that the parks in the entire area start to make sense and they're sort of completer parks with better access.
In the meantime, it might not be possible, but could you look at potential signage for all the folks that are driving up and down Clybourne that I bet don't know there's a park there?
Yeah, sure. We can do that.
And I don't know who controls that land, but if there was a possibility for signage. And just one more quick point. A couple years ago, we had a member of the public who came here almost monthly with pictures of this facility and said, please fix this. And I don't think we've seen him for a while. But if we could look and find out, remember his name and come up and contact him, I think because he worked hard at this and spent a lot of time, volunteer time, trying to bring this issue up. If we could contact him and make sure that he knows that this was done, and maybe even offer him a tour of the facility.
Sounds good. Will do.
Great, and can I just state for the record, I want to thank personally, and if I can, on behalf of the board, Walter Burnett's generosity. Again, this was paid for entirely with TIF, and he was a great partner on this, and as well as other projects in the ward.
I have a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Will the Secretary take a roll call for the adoption of the matter?
Chair Commissioner Koldyke,
Aye.
Vice Chair Commissioner Salgado,
Aye.
Commissioner Shalaby,
Aye.
Commissioner Lavelle,
Aye.
President Trobert.
Aye.
Motion carried and the matter is adopted.
That concludes the Committee on Capital Improvements. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All those against? Motion carried. The Committee on Capital Improvements is now adjourned.
Commissioner Shelby?
Okay, thank you. On this day, Wednesday, June 12, 2013, at 10:47 a.m., a meeting of the Committee of Programs and Recreation of the Board of Commissioners of the Chicago Park District is being held on the 8th floor boardroom of the Administration Building located 541 North Fairbanks. Will the Secretary please take a roll call?
Chair Commissioner Shalaby,
Here.
Vice Chair Commissioner Allen,
Here.
Commissioner Salgado,
Here.
Vice President Armstrong,
Here.
President Trobert.
Here.
Quorum is present. Let the record reflect that Commissioner Koldyke, Commissioner Lavelle, and General Superintendent Michael Kelly are also in attendance.
This meeting will please come to order. Item number 1 from the First Deputy General Counsel, request to initiate a 45-day notice period to name Park 499, also known as Burnham Greenway, in honor of John Beans Beniak. Good morning, Elizabeth Perez.
Good morning, Commissioners, President Traubert, General Superintendent Kelly. Elizabeth Perez, Deputy Director of Legislative and Community Affairs. It is recommended that an order be entered authorizing the General Superintendent or his designee to initiate a 45-day notice period to solicit public input to name Park 499 in honor of John Beans Beniak. Park number 499 is located at 3925 East 104th Street. It is in the 10th Ward on the east side. John Beans Beniak lived across the street from a stretch of abandoned railroad property in Chicago's East Side community. It was composed of knee-high grass and weeds, and the site had been littered with debris for years. After Mr. Beniak recovered from open-heart surgery in the 70s, he needed to keep busy, so he decided to clean the site and began to mow it regularly. Later on, he decided to add some benches and some trees and even a bocce court. The neighbors then came out and began to help him maintain the site, and soon the neighborhood had cookouts and other community gatherings at the site. He advocated that the land be saved as parkland, and he was obviously heard. In the late 1990s, the Chicago Park District participated in a unique partnership with the City of Chicago, Cook County, suburban communities, the state of Illinois, and Core Lands to transform a large stretch of abandoned railroad property, including the stretch tended by Mr. Beniak, into a greenway and trail. The Chicago Park District acquired a 1-mile portion of a new 10-mile trail system that stretches from Calumet Park to forest preserves and parks in the south suburbs. The long-term goal is for this 10-mile area to serve as a link in the 475-mile Grand Illinois Trail. It's my understanding that we have a couple of speakers in support of this matter. Madam Secretary.
Our two speakers are Thomas Sadzak and Judith Lahota. Mr. Sadzak?
Good morning, President Traubert, Chairman Armstrong, Superintendent Kelly, and board members. I come on behalf of Alderman John Pope. I'm a staff assistant to him. Alderman Pope wishes to express his support to rename part of the trail John Beans Beniak Park. We're looking to name the park from 106th to 108th, directly next to the trail on the Avenue D side. This is something that has been in the works for a while, and with the other speaker, Judy Lahuda, and gentleman in attendance, John Pastrick, who maintains the property today, plants flowers there, goes out, Park District cuts the grass, but community, Washington High School students are involved in this, St. Francis de Sales students will be involved in this. This is something that can benefit the community greatly. We'd like to bring back the cookouts and have everybody go out and enjoy the facility as it is now. Thank you.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
My name is Judith Lahota. I'm the president of the Calumet Ecological Park Association. We're a small volunteer group that his mission is to preserve and to enhance a variety of natural, cultural, and historical areas in the Calumet region. As Thomas Zajac said, we have stewards that work on the property, and the steward that's with me today, John Pastrick, John's right here, he lives near that area. The whole community calls this area Beans Park. They not only remember Beans, but all the neighbors coming out and doing work, stewardship work on this park. So he was doing stewardship work in the 80s before it was fashionable. Now we all have stewards, and I realize that you all need stewards in your parks. You can't operate without them anymore. So we would like to name this park after Mr. Beniak, and we do have support from the Friends of the Parks who are here today, and another group from our community, the Southeast Environmental Task Force. And any questions?
This is a fabulous story.
It is.
I mean, to read about it, to see
Mm-hmm.
it, and I think has a lot of relevance today. And the more we can tell these kinds of stories, I think the richer park environment we're going to have,
Mhm.
because it's really about taking ownership for public spaces. We all know this really well, and this is a fabulous story, and eager to vote on this.
Thank you very much.
And the community continues to maintain it?
Yes, they do. We have regular events on that site. Our stewards take care of the 2-block area, which we're asking to be called Beans Park. It's between 106th and 108th Street. It's 2 blocks long without a road in between at 107th. So it's 2 blocks, including the road, what would be the road area, and it's approximately 100 to 125 foot in width. Then behind that was the embankment for the railroad, which is now the Burnham Greenway. We are not asking to rename the Burnham Greenway. I think that's written in stone. It will continue to be the Burnham Greenway well into the suburbs, so we don't want to rename the Burnham Greenway. I was kind of leery about when I heard Burnham Greenway, but I'm assuming that you're referring to the area of the Burnham Greenway. So the park is only the 2-block area.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank
Great.
you.
I'd like to also
Yes.
just say I'd like to thank you for being here and thank you for telling the story. And I know I'll echo Commissioner Salgado, but I think you said something very profound, and that is that we need stewards, and every good park needs stewards, and now more than ever, as you said. So on
Yes.
behalf of the Board of Commissioners, I thank you and that entire community for being stewards of what will soon be officially called Beans Park. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We are also interested in the natural areas in Calumet, and there are many natural areas that need a lot of work. And we've been working with Jana Vermikoff in the natural areas, and we'll continue to do so.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Any other speakers or comments? If not, I'll entertain a motion to initiate the 45-day notice period to rename the park.
Second?
Let the record reflect that Commissioner Koldyke has left the meeting. I'll take a roll call. Chair Commissioner Shalaby?
Aye.
Vice Chair Commissioner Allen?
Aye.
Commissioner Salgado?
Aye.
Vice President Armstrong?
Aye.
President Trobert?
Aye.
Motion carried and the matter is adopted.
That concludes the Committee on Programs and Recreation. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, please state by saying aye.
Aye.
Against? The motion is carried and the Committee on Programs and Recreation is now adjourned.
On this day, Wednesday, June 12th, 2013, at 10:55 a.m., a meeting of the Committee of the Whole of the Board of Commissioners of the Chicago Park District is being held in the 8th floor boardroom of the Administration Building located at 541 North Fairbanks. Will the Secretary please take a roll call?
Commissioner Shalaby?
Here.
Commissioner Koldyke? Commissioner Lavelle?
Here.
Commissioner Salgado?
Here.
Commissioner Allen?
Here.
Vice President Armstrong?
Here.
President Trobert?
Here.
Quorum is present. Let the record reflect that General Superintendent Michael Kelly is also in attendance.
This meeting will please come to order. At this time, the Committee of the Whole will consider various matters which are, pursuant to the Illinois Open Meetings Act, appropriately discussed in executive session. There will be a discussion of a personnel matter pursuant to 5 ILCS 120, Section 2, subsection C1. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against? The motion is carried. The meeting is now in executive session. return to open session.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion carried. Return to open session.
The Board of Commissioners met in executive session to discuss a personnel matter and have the following matters of new business. The Board of Commissioners discussed the appointment of David Donnersberger as General Counsel of the Chicago Park District. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Will Secretary take a roll call vote for the adoption of this matter?
Commissioner Shalaby?
Aye.
Commissioner Lavelle?
Aye.
Commissioner Salgado?
Aye.
Commissioner Allen?
Aye.
Vice President Armstrong?
Aye.
President Trobert?
Aye.
Motion carried, and the matter is adopted.
Congratulations, and we all look forward to working with you. That concludes the meeting of the Committee of the Whole. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All those against? Motion carried. The Committee of the Whole is now adjourned.